Hello, and welcome back to today's maths lesson. We're going to continue our work on multiplication, and we're going to build on what we did yesterday and just move one more column up. So we're going to multiply three-digit numbers by a two-digit number. Now, all of the methods that we used yesterday, as long as you partition in the same way, are going to work. But we'll run through it, check that our understanding is correct, and then we'll do a few problem solving questions based around that skill. So first off, let's have a little quick arithmetic session. We've got 4 questions. Pause now and have a go. Okay, so the first question, 12 times 4. Hopefully it should be quite straightforward for you as it is one of our times tables, and yes, the answer is 48. So because we know 12 times 4 is 48, do we know 12 times 40? Well, yes, because the only additional thing we've got to do is times the answer by 10, as 40 is 10 times bigger than 4. So the answer is 480. Then we're going to go and do 206 times 3. Now you could use a method to help you, one of those methods for 3 digits by 1 digit. And you probably could do this in your head if you use that method. Just a few jottings to help you. And the answer, therefore, is 618. Now, 6 times 3 is 18. There's nothing in the tens column. And 2 times 3 is 6. And that's what's in the hundreds column. Then we can use our knowledge of that to do 206 times 300. As 300 is 100 times more than 3. So we just need to times the answer we got by 100. And therefore, the answer comes out at being 61,800. So you can see through looking at this that actually there's a lot of knowledge that we know from our times tables that can be used to do much harder calculations as long as we remember the link between them. So let's have a look. Just to recap from last session, here is a 2-digit by a 2-digit. We've got 41 times 26. So the first thing we're doing is going to split it up. How about you have a go? Pause now and have a go. Okay, so let's run through this step by step because this process is exactly the same way we're going to do our calculations later on. So the first thing we do is we do 41 times 6. Whatever is in this column here is what we're going to do times. We're going to times each bit independently. So we do 6 times 1 first. 6 times 1 is 6. That's straightforward. Then we do 6 times 4. 6 times 4 is 24. So the 2 of that will get carried into the next column over. So there's the 2 carried over into the next column, but the 4 in the column we're in. Then we look in the hundreds column. We're not actually timesing anything by 6. So 0 times 6 is 0, plus that 2 just makes it into a 2. So we've got the first step. The next step is we have to times out our tens. So it's 41 times 20. Remember, we times it by 10 first because we're in the tens column. So the first thing we can do straight away is we can put that 0 in because we know we're in the tens column straight away. Then 20 times 1 is 2 or 20. And then 2 times 4, 2 times 40 is 80 or 800 in this case. And our answer is there. Then all we have to do is add those two numbers together to go down here. So our answer is going to be 10,066. So moving forward, having a look at this, what do you think is the same and what's different? You're right. The only difference is that additional column. We've already included here an 100s column. Now, because of that, we can put our thousands column here even though there's nothing there. And this just means that if we do have to carry into that column, it's easy because it's already there and we can think about that straight away. But is anything else different? Is the process we're going to go through different? And the answer is no. So let's try it, see if it works. I do the top number, 132, times my ones, which is times 3. So 3 times 2 is 6, then 3 times 3 in the 10th column, which is 9, and 3 times 1 in the 100th column, so 3 times 1, 100, is 300. Nice and straightforward. Then we go on to our next column. We're going to times up our 10s now, so it's timesing by 20. Remember, we're timesing by 20. It's already in the 10th column, so it needs to stay in the 10th column, so we can put that 0 in. And one easy way to remember is there's 1 0 here we're timesing by, which kind of helps us remember that this needs to be here. Then we do our 2 times 2, or 20 times 2, which is 4. Then 2 times 3, so it's 2 20 lots of 3 10s, which is 600s, or 2 times 3 is 6, but it's in the hundreds column because 10 times 10. The same here, 2 lots of 100s, timesing it by 10. So it goes into the next column up. 2 times 1 is 2. Then we just add them all together. 6 plus 0 is 6, 4 and 9 is 13, 3, 6 and 1 is 10, and 2 and 1 is 3. So our answer would be 3036. So, your turn. Have a go. See if you can solve this for me. Pause now and try. Okay, let's run through it and see if we're right. So, the first step is timesing by 2 on the ones. We do 6 times 2, which is 12. And then we do 2 times 2, or 2 times 2 10s, it's 4 10s, plus that 1 10 that we already have here. So 2 times 2 is 4, plus that 1 is 5. That goes in there, and we can cross out the 1 to help us. Then we're doing 2 times 300s, so 2 times 3 in the hundreds column, which is 6. Then we need to look at timesing by 30, which is the last part of this number here. We've done the timesing by 2, so we just need to times them by 30, which is this bit here. Timesing by 30, remember, we're timesing by 10, all of them by 10. So easy way to show that is to put that 0 in there. We're timesing by all by 10. And if we put that in, then we can remember that the number fills in from there, and we're not going to place them wrong and forget that we times by 10 because we're in the tens column. So then we do 3 lots of this 6, we get 18. 3 lots of the 2 is 6 plus that 1, which makes it 7. Cross out the 1 just to make sure we've done it. And then 3 times 3, which is 9. And then all we need to do is add the 2 parts together. So 2 plus 0 is 2, 5 and 8 is 13, 6 and 7 plus that 1 is 14, 9 and 1 is 10. There's nothing else in the 10,000s column, so that 1 can go straight there. Well done if you got that right. If you're not sure, go back and re-watch what we've just done and think about it step by step. And what I would say is, when you do these next questions, the easiest way to think about it is, if you're struggling, write down the question, then go back, watch the bit of the video that goes through how to do it, and use that to help you work it out. Have a go now. Pause. We'll come back with the answers. Okay, answer time it is. So here we go. And here's our answers. Our first one over here we're looking at, we're just doing a times table, 13 times 9 and timesing by 10. So these are just noticing patterns. When timesing by 10, you just times it by 10, and that should mean that you can see where the pattern there is. Then we're completing multiplication. So it's just remembering what we have to do. So at this stage, the stage that they're at is adding them together. So that's all you have to do. The stage right here is adding them together, but it's also asking you what they did. And we just remember that we times the top number, whatever that is, by the partitioned bottom number 4 first, then 20. And that helps us answer this. Going up here, we've got the calculation here, which is 216 times 23, which I put in there. What's the mistake he made? There is a big problem here, more than likely, because something isn't right. Or is there a problem here? And what's the right answer? So Brett has put the 0, show multiplying place, in the wrong place. He's put it in this column here, this row here, which is actually when you're timesing by 3, rather than putting it in this row here to show timesing by 20. So actually, these numbers should all be in the next column down, and these numbers all in the next column up. Then you'd add them together, and the answer you get is 4,968. And then we've got the ones down here, and these you could all have, if you wanted to, written down the answer, gone back, watched the model all the way through, and if you followed on, these would be the answer you get. Well done. I hope you did well in those. So, next slide we're going to have a look at. Dora, Alex, and Teddy have come up with their answers for 248 times 21. We've got 2,978, 5,208, 7,684. Now, not all of these could be right, obviously. Some of these have got to be wrong. But how are we going to have an idea of which one it is without having to do the entire sum ourselves? Well, what we can do is we could use estimating to get a rough idea of what the number might be. So let's have a look. 248 times 21. 248 is very close to 250, and 21 is very close to 20. So if we were to do 250 times 20, we would have a rough idea of where the answer would be. So 25 times 2 is 50. We times that by the 10, we get, or times it by 10 on both sides, because if you look in this one, 25, that's minusing that, timesing by 10. 2 is minusing by 10, so we have to times both parts by 10, which means you have to times this twice by 10. So 2 additional steps in our place value grid, which gets us to around 5,000, which probably means that Alex is probably the correct person. So if you estimate both sides of the equation, write down a greater than, a less than, and equal to complete this statement. So have a go, try it, and then we'll talk through. Pause now. Okay, so let's have a look what we've estimated to. 281 close to 200 and 24 close to 20, which is roughly 2 times 2 is 4, times 100 times 10 is 4,000. And on this side, 112 is close to 100, 63 is close to 60, 1 times 6 is 6, times 100 times 10 is 6,000. So one side's 4,000, one side 6,000. It's quite obvious that the 6,000 is greater than the 4,000. Here's another question for you. Mo orders muffins for a party. He orders 12 boxes, 12 of box A, 20 of box B, and 14 of box C. How many muffins does he order in total? So first we need to check how many are in each box. So we've got 1 in box A, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in box B, and in box C we have 12. So have a think, try and work it out, and then we'll talk it through. Okay, so we do 12 times 1, so there's 1 in the box, and we have 12 of them. So 1 in the box and 12 of them. So we do 12 times 1, which is 12. Nice and straightforward, hopefully. Then we're looking at box B. We have 20 of them, and there is 10 in each. So 20 times 10 is 200. Then C, we have 14 of box C, which is 12. So it's 14 times 12. And we can use our trick from before to to know that 14 times 2 is 28. You times it by 10 to get 140, then add the two parts together to get 168. Then we have to add them all together, which is just using our addition. You could use column method, you could use it in the head, but the answer you get is 380. How many muffins does my order we know is 380? The follow-up question is each muffin costs 34p. So how much does Mo spend? Have a think. Pause now. Okay, so let's have a look. We got 380 times 24, and we do this much the same way we've done all the others. So we do 380 times 4 first. 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 8 is 32, and 4 times 3 is 12, plus that 3 is 15. Then we do 380 times 20, times that 10 out first, put that 0 in. Then we do 2 times 0 is nothing. 2 times 8 is 16, and 2 times 3 is 6, plus the 1 is 7. Then we add it together, 0 and 0 is 0, 2 and 0 is 2, 5 and 6 is 11, and 1, 7 and 1 is 9. So our answer is 9,120p. So we don't normally talk about 9,120 pence. We normally exchange that into pounds. So 100 pence is the same as £1. So in order to do that, we have to divide by 100. So we need to divide the 9,120 by 100. So here's our place value grid, and here's our 9,120. We move each 2 spaces towards the decimal point or beyond the decimal point in that direction, and that's dividing by 100. So we move the 0 first, 1, 2, then the 2 tens become 2 tenths, 100 become a 1, and the 9 becomes 9t. Our answer is £91.20. Finally, here's our final questions for this lesson. Have a look, pause now and have a shot, and then I'll come back with the answers in a minute. Pause now. And here are your answers for these. Have a good look through. If you've got any questions, we'll talk about them in the next live session. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you in the next lesson.